And we're back. Welcome to Sanchez TV.
Sanchez TV.
We're back home.
Promised.
We're back home.
Yeah, we just got back in last night. That'd be nice. That would be very nice.
I know. But we're back home. We are, as promised, going to be talking about
Time management. Spending your time.
Spending more time than you have. And I think this is perfect that it follows the finance video that we posted last week because
they are very much tied together.
Yeah, time management and money management goes hand in hand. Let me tell you guys something. If you don't know how to manage your time, you, like 90%, don't have your shit together when it comes to finances.
Or your health, or your relationships, or you probably don't manage much of nothing really well.
Time is a very, very important pillar, and we're going to try to touch on some things within the time span of 10 minutes, but managing your time is super important. I think that the very first thing and the most important is that you're doing what you said you were going to do. I think a lot of times we say, hey, I'm going to wake up on time, and then you wake up late, and you're not honoring your word to yourself. That's the very, very first thing. We end up wasting time, which is dumb in a sense, because you have time, but a lot of the time we just waste it.
Yeah. I mean, and you guys paid attention to the video prior to this. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. But you know, I admitted there, like, my finances were not in the best place. I was all over the place, and so was my time management. And when I started getting, you know, all of that together, like, it all goes.
It goes hand in hand.
So.
And the way that I like to see time, you know, people say time is money and blah, 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 but it really is.
It's better than money.
You
don't get that shit back.
Yeah, you can't get it back. But I think what's important, too, is to realize that we have a set amount of time per day, or per week or per month, whatever you want to call it. And think about it as like your bank account. And then you choose who you give that money to, that time to. So you say, hey, we're going to go to this party. All right, I'm giving this many hours to this party. Or, hey, I'm going to enroll the kids into sports. All right, well, that goes there. But now your household also needs time. So you have to allocate the time to certain places. And the issue is that when you're not managing your time, you end up depleting that bank account real quick. And you start going to the credit cards real quick with time. And that's not good.
You start borrowing time, you start sleeping less, you start, you know, showing up late to work, to commitments, meetings, whatever you got going on. You're showing up late now. You're borrowing time in a way, you know, from one activity to another.
Time that you don't have.
You're all over the place. You're behind.
Yeah.
Always behind.
So when you overbook yourself, it doesn't work because, like he's saying, right, you're borrowing things. But I think something else that tends to happen when you're overbooking yourself is when you can't make it to everything, you start beating yourself up. Especially as mothers, right? You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do laundry, you have to take the kids to sports, you have to do all these things. And at some point, you realize, wow, it's because I don't have time for me. But that isn't necessarily the kid's fault or the house's fault or work's fault. It's the mismanagement of your time where you're not putting yourself first. And that is super important as a household, you know, as a mother. You have to put yourself first so that you can be okay. Because when you start borrowing money, like from the credit cards, you pay interest, and that interest comes in the payment of your health. When you start sleeping less, you start feeling like shit. But then in that beating yourself up, you're also, you know, doing different things. It's the physical health and the mental health. Where at some point, that depression, that anxiety, those migraines, all of that stuff starts setting in. And it starts from not managing your time correctly. And this is why we're both so huge on health, because so many things build on that. And part of that is, one, taking care of your money. I'm sure you've noticed that when you don't have money, you get headaches and you get stressed.
And you can't go to the gym because you're stressed about the money. There's not a lot you can do. So, yeah. You know, it does start with that. I mean, everything... The way that you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, and it all goes full circle, right? If your health isn't well, everything doesn't go. But then if your time management isn't well, the rest of the things don't follow. And it's very important to take care of everything together. So that was one of the things that I wanted to touch on, because when you start borrowing that time from your health or from, everything else, it doesn't work, and it piles up to the point where now you need to take extra time off for medical attention. And you're like, dang, this is time that I didn't have. And something that I noticed too is that when things aren't working and then we go and take a vacation, it's not a vacation to relax. It's a vacation to like avoid the responsibilities.
Disconnecting it away.
Yeah, and then you come back to more shit. So it doesn't work. And it's just time to like sit and realize, like, if this is resonating with you and you realize like, hey, our time management isn't maybe the best, like looking at what things can leave. And the very first things that you can take out of your calendar is the family parties, the gatherings. And that's something that has gone away a little bit with COVID, but it's coming back. Like, you don't need to go to that birthday party. You don't need to go to that drive-by party. You don't need to log into that Zoom meeting. You don't need to do anything, obviously, if it's not work.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you don't need to do. You choose to, you want to, but you better, I guess, manage your way around it to where it fits your schedule and you're still productive. You're still getting the shit done that needs to be done, and you're not falling behind in your own life because you're trying to keep up with everybody else, trying to make sure that everybody else says, oh, such a good time seeing you here and all that. Like,
well, not even that. I think bringing that up, this is going to be a recurring topic with the keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, because
sorry, Jones.
because our neighbor has their kid in sports, I'm going to put my kid in sports. And then I'm going to do this. Like, putting your kids in sports takes a lot of time away from you. And the thing is, that's a time commitment where you have to figure out what's going to come first, right? If it's going to be you and your mental health and your time, or putting the kids in sports and putting yourself in the back burner. It's very important to realize that commitment is going to take a lot from you and your family as well. And it's because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Also, that additional, and maybe I'm overstepping boundaries here, but this is my opinion, also people telling you to have more kids and people asking you, when are you going to have another one? You don't need to have another one back to back, because that also takes a lot of time. It's not about, can I financially, have 2 kids? It's, do I have time for 2 kids? And that's something that's very important. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times do we get that question.
All the time.
When are you going to have another?
You guys want us to have another kid. Why?
When are you going to have another? And as much as we love our child and, eventually we might have another, I don't have the time for 2 right now. So I'm going to honor that and put our family, time first, and realize, hey, we don't have time for 2 right now.
Yeah. And it's goes back to everything that we're always talking about is, as a family, as a team, working together, the things that I don't have time for, maybe she can accommodate. The things that she can't accommodate to, then I can accommodate. It's attacking everything. It's you as a couple, as a household, against your schedules, your time, your day, your everything.
And everything goes hand in hand. And whatever you find that works and synergy for you works. But if you find that you're running around this a shit show all the time, and you say, "Oh my God, I love my shit show," hey, that shit show is actually taking a toll on your health. Whether you wanna, agree, whether you want to see it or not, it's still taking a toll.
Believe
it's just
it or not.
A matter of time. And as much as it's great now and the kids love being in the sports or whatever the case, they also want their mom to meet their grandchildren. And I think that's something that we put in the back burner, and they're like, well, we'll deal with it when we get there. But we now get to start taking care of us in the future, because at some point it's going to be too late, and you're going to wish that you took care of you and the kids and everybody else.
I want my grandkids to meet my 3rd and 4th wife. Like, I want to be around for a while. Oh man, thank you guys.
Sleeping on the couch tonight. Stupid.
Thank you guys so much for watching our videos.
But
Give us a like, subscribe. Let us know if you guys want any special topics, and we'll give you our $3. Anything except, what are we not going to talk about?
Drugs. Oh, I'm sorry. We will not talk about politics, and we will not talk about religion, but everything else.
Too touchy,
let us know.
Too sensitive. We'll leave those for the dark room.
No, I don't think they're too touchy or too sensitive. I will tell you from my point of view, I just don't know enough about politics or religion to speak anything about it. So I have no right and no place to talk and say what I think because I don't know enough. So
there you have it.
That's the reason why we will not touch on those topics. But anything else, let us know. Team Sanchez, out.
Peace.
Adios.